I have a gentle approach to how I suggest somebody will market their home. My focus is always on the client and their needs. My children, they're why I get up and go to work every day. I have 2 boys and 2 girls, but I gave birth to a daughter, and unfortunately the birth process was not a smooth one. I now work in this culture of giving. I've got this big map of the Trent Severn Waterway and thinking, I wonder if anybody's ever been able to swim the whole distance, and wouldn't that be a good way to raise money? I'm Trudy Wilson, broker at RE/MAX Eastern in Peterborough and the Kawarthas. I grew up in Agincourt in your quintessential suburban house. My father owned a landscaping company. He came from the Netherlands, and my mom, she had worked at Bell Canada when she first came to Canada. She's from Ireland, from Northern Ireland, so that was quite the combination between the two of them. After having my brother, went to work for my father, so she fully supported him in that business. I have 3 older brothers, so I am the baby. I kind of came as an afterthought, which was kind of a joke in our family. So I was a little bit of a precocious child. I tended to argue more than my brothers did as far as our parents were concerned. I was very strong-willed. I was actually quite athletic growing up. In high school, I was a competitive swimmer. I went to 2 universities. I started off at Lakehead University, and then I went to York University. I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. My 2 boys are older than my 2 girls. It's almost like having 2 generations of kids. My boys are biologically mine, but the 2 girls we adopted. We had this opportunity to adopt these 2 girls, and we jumped at it. My children, they're why I get up and go to work every day, and that, and my clients, of course. But yeah, my children are very much a priority in my life. I sponsor through World Vision a young girl in South America. When I initially started to sponsor the first child, and she was from India, there was just something inside me. I had a daughter that I had lost, and I thought, if she were here, that I'd be supporting her. And I thought, well, maybe there's another child out there that I could somehow make a difference. And I was on the World Vision website, and this little girl popped up onto the screen, and she shared my birthday. So I thought, she's the one. So in 1998, I gave birth to a daughter, and unfortunately the birth process was not a smooth one, and she experienced some birth injuries, and she was born lifeless, but they were able to resuscitate her, and she lived for 2 days. At the time, you get her baptized. We named her Lauren Taylor Wilson, and my hope was, because she was so big and so healthy, that we would be able to donate her organs, but unfortunately there was too much damage done. But her corneas were donated to somebody that was blind. Flash forward years later, I now working for RE/MAX I'm living in the Kawarthas. I've got this big map of the Trent Severn Waterway on my wall. You know, I'm looking at it and thinking, I wonder if anybody's ever been able to swim the whole distance of the Trent Severn Waterway, and wouldn't that be a good way to create a platform, you know, to raise money. And around that time, I guess I was getting more involved in RE/MAX and this culture of giving. There's so many RE/MAX agents out there that are giving back to their communities. And there was one agent in particular who did something that I thought was absolutely amazing. He did a motorcycle ride from his home in Wasaga to his vacation home in Costa Rica and raised a lot of money. So I reached out to him and I said, like, what do you think if I swam, you know, the Trent Severn Waterway? And immediately he was just like, yes, you're doing it. It was just amazing to have somebody else breathe life into this idea that had just been kind of kicking around in my head. And then there was, following that, there was a RE/MAX event that I went to, and I sat at a table with a number of RE/MAX agents, and he started talking about this idea that I had, and a few more people at the table just said, I'm going to help you with that. And I just kind of went with other people's confidence that it could be done, because I didn't even know that it really could be done. And that's how it started. In high school, I was not a long distance swimmer, but I was a competitive swimmer. Unfortunately, because of the cross training that I did for swimming, I managed to have a stress fracture in my spine, and it's caused permanent injury to my back. So although I had some difficult days in the beginning of my swim, and I've certainly, my back caused me pain through the whole process. In my mind, I kept thinking, this is kind of minor in terms of what my body is enduring. And when you think about what these kids go through, and my objective was, even if I could help one child and spare one family the loss of a child, that it'd be all worth it. So I kept pushing through this long and arduous swim so that I could create a platform to raise awareness to sick kids and the foundation, but also to create a legacy for my own daughter, so that, you know, we could remember her too. I started in June. This was in 2016. We had a start date planned, and unfortunately my mom was not doing very well, and she actually passed right before I was to start my swim. And I remember my brothers, we were planning the funeral, and they were so good. They figured, you know, that my mom would not want to have been the reason for me not to start. So while I started in June, I really wasn't swimming like 5 days a week until the end of July and into August. And so the swim ended up finishing in the middle of September. The swim started Port Severn and ended in Trenton. So it was 386 kilometers. I think the longest I was in the water was 10 hours, but that wasn't my greatest distance. My greatest distance was over 15 kilometers in one day. And a little interesting fact, a marathon swim is considered to be 10 kilometers. So I was doing marathon swims daily. I swam the distance myself, with the exception of one small area where a young girl who's a swimmer and her brother, they were competitive swimmers, they swam alongside me for a short distance. But for the rest of the time, I had my kayak chaperones. There were 3 of them that alternated. And then I had a multitude of boat chaperones as well. So the Lauren Taylor Wilson Pledge was a $25,000 pledge that I made to Sick Kids Hospital that was to be satisfied over 5 years. By the end of the swim, we had raised over $40,000. That pledge is now closed, but I always encourage people to donate to Sick Kids Hospital. There's always a need. Even though the Lauren Taylor Wilson Pledge is closed, you can make donations at their website.